Well, it's crazy.
Scott over here is just straight addicted to YouTube videos about people
Like near-death experiences
their near-death
and like
experiences.
their experiences would happen when they die. And I've been fascinated with that for years.
And it's weird because in the near-death experiences sort of community and all of these people telling their stories about it, there's a lot of common ground, man. You know, you really, like, there's a lot that adds up and it becomes credible because everyone's describing the same thing. I've never heard about the watching people fucking part, but, like, I've heard about, like, they talk about a spirit guide, you know, comes and you feel compelled that you want to, like,
go with it.
Go with your. They say go with your spirit guide, you know, like go with your spirit guide. It's also really fascinating how, like,
a life review.
Yeah, the life review, dude, where you can, like, I mean, dude, there's, like, are we agreed that life review is, like, we can just call that a fact because, like, all of the accounts of it are all so, like.
Well, have you ever had, like, have you guys ever had, like, a life review in the drug experience where you go through like different situations? Because, like, in the near-death experience, people have these life reviews, and they're like feeling how the person felt that you talk shit to, and but I want to bring that up because, like, I'm so fascinated with your fascination with life reviews.
Life review is the most crucial thing, and if anybody hasn't heard this term, you can look it up. What it is that, like, at the moment of death, like, you know, they say it in rock songs or whatever, poems, like, your life flashes before your eyes. Yeah. Now, that saying about when you die, your life flashes before your eyes, like, as it's described in people who have had the experience and then, like, died, had their life review, and then come back. And like,
yeah, they're completely changed because they're like, fuck, I've caused that much damage.
Right, you experience your entire life. Like, you could say your life flashes before your eyes. It happens in a moment, but it also happens in super slow-mo. Like, time's just not even. You re-experience your entire life in this flash with, like, super consciousness, like the consciousness of like the whole, like, basically God, even if you don't like that term, but, like, you go through your whole life and you personally experience from the perspective of every thing that you had an influence over, and with the detail of that, if there is a mosquito, like, off, like, you know, further than the eye can see, like, you have the experience of being that mosquito. Like, the idea of oneness becomes an experience where you actually, like, you're no longer separated. So you review your whole life, and it's not for the purpose of punishing you for, like, the harm that you've done to others. It's just for the experience. So it becomes real, like, oh my God. And the common denominator in having this life review is that everybody who comes back to being human, everyone who comes back to life, now they are so overwhelmingly concerned with not fucking over other people. They are no longer concerned with material things. Like, they are, like, totally changed, and in such a way. And, like, I've seen so many, like, just been so fascinated with this life review thing that I like to think I don't even need to have a life review to just trust that that's the truth and just do not fuck with other people. Be generous.
Well,
like,
it's crazy.
Clean up your messes, you know, like. Yeah.
It's crazy because the two common denominators that people have, I mean, like, thousands and thousands of people, like 90% of them come back and get a divorce, and then the other ones come back and they can't wear watches because watches don't work.
What?
Yeah.
I never heard the watch. I never heard
They're
either
like,
of
well,
that.
they can't wear a watch because it always breaks.
Holy shit, we've added another fucking part of the roller coaster that you were talking about in the beginning. Like, before the divorce, we put him under. Like, we kill him and then bring him back to life.
I mean, dude, and, like, there's a really good example of a guy who had a near-death experience, and there's a documentary about it. Is that the one called I Am? But the dude who directed all the, like, just monstrously successful Jim Carrey movies.
Tom Shadyac?
Yeah, this guy was, like, private jets, like, fucking, look at my fucking huge mansion. This guy was just so tens of millions of dollars for, like, every movie, and he was just cranking them out. So he just had obnoxious amounts of money. Then, at some point, he was riding his bicycle, had, like, a hellacious wipeout riding his bicycle, and in that wipeout, like had like where he died, had the near death experience, came back from it, and the dude ever since like I don't know if he gave everything away, but like lives in a fucking trailer. In a trailer park in Malibu, like just has no fucking interest whatsoever in like the lifestyle that he had. Like he's a good example of like how near death experiences like change people, you know. And
Man, I volunteered at a hospice called Rose Room Hospice in LA for a little bit. And the guy who was like came to tell us how to like be with dying people, he was one of those people. He had a shit ton of money. He fucking died. He went the whole thing, the life review, the whole thing, didn't want to come back. That's the other commonality. Is people are like, no thanks, I'm done. It's like, no, you're not done. You're going back. And you go back and it's
painful going back into the body.
Yes. Well, what he said is what's over there makes this where we're at seem like death compared to that other place. Like we're in I think he called it a warp. Like he said, we're in a time warp when you're alive, and the other side is so wonderful. Yeah. It's more of the spa theory of things. I hope that's the case. I really do. I want that to be the reality versus like the other versions of it, which have justice built into them. You know, a kind of like mathematical justice. And maybe the life review is enough. Maybe if you do the life review, and that is the penance, is like experiencing the way that you made everyone feel, and and that's all you need. That's the purification or something. But it's so mysterious, but I do think it's like pretty incredible the way that regardless of culture, regardless of what your religious background is, you're going to have the same experience when you die. That's one of the things the NDE experts talk about, is it's like, it doesn't matter if you're Hindu, Jewish, whatever it may be, it's the life review, it's the light, it's all the things that you hear about, and it seems to transcend culture, which is another implication that, you know, it's something real, or if not real, the cynical version of it as well. It's something built into us.
It's crazy. Like you hear like a life or like a near death experience story of like a 60-year-old woman that goes to church every day, you know, and she dies and comes back, and they're like, well, are you still a Christian? She's like, no, not at all. Like it has nothing to do with that, you know. And then, you know, just hearing that from that perspective, you're like, fuck, man, like there's something out there. You know,
I mean, it's more, there's something in here, you know, like the idea of space and time is just such an illusion. But
the documentary that I did, the whole thing was like, I went to India to go meditate, to go find like this thing I'm seeking, and like I read this thing from Emerson that said, you know, nete quasi veris extra, and it doesn't really tell you what that is, and I looked it up, and it was it's Latin for do not seek outside yourself. And I just had that. It's like, dude, I didn't have to go 15,000 miles to India to find any answers. Like, you can just do it from the wild ride van, you know, or just kind of.
Sure. Well, that's the classic archetype. Like, you had it in you all along, you know, like we're drawn to those kinds of stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also like, we can't have this spiritual fucking tourism right now. I mean, it's like, to me, like the ironic thing about spiritual tourism, when you're doing the thing, you get in the plane, you fly to wherever you think the holy people are. Mm-hmm. Going to the Amazon to take ayahuasca is like, as you're flying over the Amazon, you're just like dumping jet fuel on top of the place where you're going to go have your spiritual experience.
That's so funny.
So I think that's a real great epiphany you had, because especially these days, I don't know that, I think there's a bit of an illusion in all of that. That being said, if Ram Dass didn't go to India with a bunch of acid, I think I wouldn't be as happy a person now, because because of his experiences there. But maybe the idea is they already did that, so now we don't have to do it. You know, the data's out there, right, ready for you if you want to sort of pick up some path or discipline.
Can I just tell you how fucked up my new tour is? It's completely multimedia, legitimately X-rated. There's legal waivers all over the venue because I'm actually worried about getting sued. And I don't give a fuck, man, because it's gnarly and it's all the stuff I wasn't allowed to do on Jackass. So get to my fucking website, stevo.com, and get your tickets, man. Especially with this movie coming out, dude. They're all gonna sell, dude, so hurry up while you can get seats.